Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big topics, and today we're diving into one of the biggest, AI in our schools.
All right, let's just jump right in with the big one, the question on everyone's mind. Will AI actually replace teachers? I mean, this is a question that brings up so much, both incredible excitement and, let's be honest, a whole lot of anxiety.
And this conversation is moving at lightning speed. It's fueled by these grand visions of a total technological transformation in education. And we're not talking about some distant sci-fi future here. This disruption, it's happening right now. So to really understand the debate, we've got to start with that grand vision. What kind of future are AI's biggest fans actually picturing for education? Well, a lot of futurists, they imagine a world where that old, rigid, one-size-fits-all model of school just disappears. Instead, you'd have a system that's incredibly flexible, totally personalized, and way more self-directed. The whole idea is to kind of unbundle education, letting students pick and choose the absolute best courses from anywhere on the planet, all of it perfectly tailored to exactly what they need and how they learn best. And that right there, that promise of a complete technological revolution, of totally reimagining how we learn, that's exactly why the role of the human educator is suddenly under this massive microscope. I mean, if learning becomes perfectly personalized and you can guide yourself, you have to ask, what's left for a teacher to do? But here's where it gets really interesting. When you shift from those future visions to what's happening on the ground today, a much, much more nuanced picture starts to emerge. The experts are having a very different kind of conversation.
Yeah, pretty much across the board, from huge organizations like the World Banks to UNESCO, the goal isn't replacement. Not at all. It's partnership. The argument is that AI's real value, its superpower, is its ability to free up human teachers to do the things that, frankly, only humans can do. And this is what that new partnership really looks like. Think of AI as the ultimate assistant. It handles all the repetitive, time-consuming stuff, right? The grading, the admin, the data analysis. And what does that do? It frees up the teacher to be a true guide, to focus on inspiration, emotional support, and facilitating those deep, critical thinking debates that a machine just can't replicate. And the research really highlights this clear divide. AI is amazing at objective, scalable tasks, like, say, providing 24/7 tutoring access. But it really struggles with the social and emotional core of what education is all about. It can't motivate a discouraged student, and there's no way it can replace the nuanced professional judgment of an experienced teacher. Okay, but we have to zoom out here, because this conversation can't just be about what's happening inside a well-funded classroom. This has massive global implications that we absolutely cannot ignore. This warning, it's a powerful one. It points to a huge and potentially devastating unintended consequence. Because most AI is trained on data from just a handful of dominant languages, mostly English, it could effectively sideline hundreds of others, threatening cultures that have existed for centuries. So if we're not extremely careful and really intentional in how we design these tools, AI in education could actually risk making things worse. It could widen the digital divide, erase linguistic diversity, and impose these generic solutions that just don't fit with local cultures and values. So all of this brings us to what might be the most important part of this whole conversation. As we move forward, what are the right questions we need to be asking to make sure we get this right? I love this point from Kenyan teacher Maxwell Kiesi because it totally reframes the goal. He argues that teaching students how to use AI, well, that's not enough. We have to teach them how to question it, how to see its limitations, understand its blind spots, and how to challenge its conclusions. And of course, that leads right to this next question. Students can't learn to question AI if their teachers aren't prepared. You can have the most advanced technology in the world, but it's basically useless if educators aren't equipped and empowered to guide their students through this new world. Teacher training has to be front and center. And then we have to ask, who is actually building these tools? If we want to avoid those huge cultural and language gaps we were just talking about, then the design process has to be inclusive from day one. Teachers from all different contexts, especially low-resource and non-English speaking ones, they have to have a seat at the table. And finally, it all comes back to equity, doesn't it? We have to ask ourselves, is this massive technological leap going to be a bridge that helps everyone cross, or will it just become another wall that leaves the most vulnerable students even further behind? So when you pull it all together, the path forward starts to become pretty clear. This isn't about humans versus machines. It's about redesigning the partnership. It's about letting technology handle what it does best so that humans can double down on what we do best. And that brings us to the real question we want to leave you with. The transformation of education that isn't really up for debate. It's already happening. So the future isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's something that we are all going to build with every single choice we make, every question we ask, and every value we refuse to compromise on.